Welcome to this I.D.E.A.L family podcast that was initiated and started by Christina Warmenbol. And today we will be interviewing her on her experience and on the relationship of a mother's emotion on her child that is still in the womb. So welcome, Christina.
Thank you.
Could you tell us about a little bit about your background?
Okay. Well, I'm born in Belgium, and when I was studying occupational therapy, I became aware about the link between birth and life after birth, and things that can happen during birth that bring complications, difficulties for the child. And so more and more information came to me, and it became a passion for me to study that more and more. So, in fact, in Belgium, I became a childbirth educator avant la lettre, as we say in French, because it didn't exist like it exists here in Canada. Mm-hmm. It was only the physiotherapists or the midwives who took care of women, but nobody went really very deep into this whole background about what a pregnant woman can do for her child. So I became childbirth educator, and I worked with women in two ways, with the couples in fact. So the first part of the evening was preparing them for birth and talking about the influence that a mother has on the unborn baby and how she can use that in the best way. And the second part was the prenatal singing. And so after that I came to Canada, and I went even deeper into the quest for information, and I found the course of the software analysis, or the therapy of intrauterine life. So to work with these 9 months and how they program us, and how you can reprogram the things that have been happening there. Later on, I opened that up even to just working with situations in life, to go to the emotional roots of a problem, a physical problem, an emotional or a mental, spiritual problem, with the journey. I became a practitioner of the journey method. And recently I also became an Akashic Record reader. And that gave me the possibility to accompany the soul that is incarnating, so that it has also the best energies for it to have the best possibilities in his process. So, and yeah, my experience was, let's say, I had my own experience when I was pregnant 18 years ago, when my husband passed away, when I was pregnant for 2 months. And there I have seen how you can use all these methods and all these notions that I had. I was obliged to put them into practice in order to overcome, of course, the sadness and the difficulties that it brought with me. And yeah, so that is my story.
Wonderful, thank you. Can you tell us how the emotions of a pregnant mother affect her child in the womb?
For sure. So, first of all, the emotions of a mother who is pregnant are affecting already her own birthing process. And in that sense, it's very important that she becomes aware of them. So emotions, strong emotions like depression or sadness or anxiety or stress, are elements that have a lot of chance to bring conflicts or complications to the birthing process, and because they are against the production of the oxytocin that she normally should have, and it blocks the whole normal natural process. So the interventions come then with the whole cascade of interventions, which bring difficulties also, might bring difficulties for the mother to bond with the child after birth. So that is the aspect of herself, for herself already. She can also, all her own experiences of when she was in the womb for 9 months, her own birthing process, can reflect on the birthing process that she will have. So it's so important to go through healing all these traumas before she's conceiving, and same thing for the father, for sure. Now, so what are the influences on the baby? And that's in fact a very important point for ideal family, because we know that all what the mother is feeling as emotions, feelings, thoughts, and of course also what she has as nourishment, are affecting the baby in some way. And so especially these emotions, there was Bruce Lipton who said that illnesses in fact have only for 1% to do with the genes, but 99% with emotions. So it's so important to take care of that. And so how they affect the baby is, the baby is like a sponge, and he receives all these influences without any barrier. It's as if he just takes the emotions of the mother as if it's his own. And he takes over her anxiousness or her sadness or her stress, and he thinks even, sometimes he thinks that he is the origin of the problem. So so the baby knows very well, he's very aware from the beginning if he is welcome or not, if he is coming at the right moment. And I have seen in my work with people that a lot of people, like more than 50% of people, think that they were not coming at the right moment. They think that the parents were still studying, for instance, or there was a conflict between them, and so what results from that is a feeling of not being good enough, for instance. All kinds of beliefs that are formed, decisions that the baby can take unconsciously that will affect his whole life.
Yes, I just want to underline the word trauma that you used when you were speaking about pregnant women or pregnant mothers. And in general, when people speak about trauma, we think of a physical trauma, of some, really bad, a bad event or a bad fall, something physical. And what I was hearing in what you are saying is really how the baby inside the womb feels the emotions of the mother as a trauma. And maybe you want to expand on that, because when we think of a mother being pregnant, she has everyday activities, maybe she doesn't get along with somebody in her family, like stress is happening every day, all the time. So we don't think of it as a trauma. But can you talk about how just stressful situations, it can be the death of somebody close, or also something a lot less, you could say that's a big trauma, but sometimes it's something less traumatic. It's just a bad relationship. But for the baby, feeling this, like not seeing anything, but just feeding off the mother's hormones and everything, how is that such a big trauma for the baby, and how is this trauma going to express once the baby is born and grows into a human?
Right, yeah, so trauma can be on many levels. So, of course, what is the most wonderful situation is that the mother would be really happy. As we say in Dutch, there is an expression, when a woman is pregnant, we say she is joyfully expecting. And of course, that is the most ideal situation, that she is happy, that she's joyful, she's in peace, in harmony. But life is not always that easy. Life throws all kinds of things on our path, and we have to deal with it. So trauma, of course, is a strong word, but it can be, there is so many levels of intensities for sure. So, but yeah, a baby can feel even if he is not wished for eventually, or for instance, if there is a conflict, as you said already, it can be also that the mother just has a miscarriage, for instance, before she was pregnant, and that she was not able to completely finish the grief process. So the baby feels that there is some sadness, that he shouldn't have been there because mommy is not really completely available for him. Another thing is what happened was very normal, like 40, 50 years ago, was that a mother might not have really taken contact with the baby. And the bonding process, in fact, starts from the beginning, completely from the beginning, from conception on. And so if the baby is not completely welcomed in that way, it might feel that it doesn't exist, or it doesn't feel good enough, because it's this first relationship that it will make, and that will be the blueprint for all relationships afterwards. So the bonding process is something that mothers are invited to start very early on, and the fathers, of course, too. It can be also that parents are wishing for a certain gender, and that the baby knows that it's the other gender. So that then the baby is going to try to play the role of the other one and not being himself. And so it's the wish is that the soul of the baby can really express himself completely as he is, and bring all the talents, energies, possibilities straight to the earth, without having to go around all these blockades that can take like 40, 50 years before we discover them even.
Could you talk to us a little bit about the ladder of emotions, or like if you could say a hierarchy of emotions?
Yeah, right. So Stephen Hawking, he was a genius who has lived with us till a few years ago. He passed away. And he has put like frequencies on all the emotions, and he has shown that like unconditional love is the highest frequency, and that's the one we are looking for, to find that again. But there are so many other emotions, and the lowest ones, the frequency that is the lowest one, is the one of guilt and shame and powerlessness. And so it's so important that we overcome these, because it holds us in a level of negativity, and it is very hard to get out of it, but it is possible. It's just the way is to become conscious of it.
It's so common amongst pregnant women and mothers to feel guilt and feeling that we're not good enough, and that we should do more, although we're doing so much.
Absolutely.
What would be your suggestion? Like, what would be an example of something that we could do, like an exercise or something to get out, to move out of these feelings? Or sometimes it may be anger or depression.
Right. So it's important to look for what can bring you to this other level, a little bit higher. And that can be just going for a walk in nature, or it can be meditating, or listening to inspiring music. And if the husband also can be really help, the husband can be a wonderful help for that also, to make some appointments simply of love during the week, like tiny moments that you can find to go together for a walk, or to do something really special that the mother feels really cared for. And if there are really deep problems, it's important to not have that linger on. Like if that's a few hours or 2 days, that's okay. But if that's staying for weeks and months, it's really important to find professional help. But one of these possibilities is to meditate, for instance, to visualize a mountain that you can climb to the top. And once you're at the top, you have another view on life and how you might have some inspiration of how you can dissolve the conflict, the difficulty, because you're in another level of, you come to that inner peace and that inner harmony. And from that point of view, you can find other ways to interact and to find solutions.
And to finish up, could you give one method that you find the most important for the mother or the parents to connect with their child?
Yeah, so it's so beautiful if a pregnant woman and the father also can connect with the soul of the baby. And it's good to know that the soul comes from a place of an abundance of love and light. It's a sublime love, it's an unconditional love that we don't even know on this earth. And so if the mother can try to get to that level of harmony and feeling inspired of this beautiful love and light, that's so important for the soul to keep contact with that place where he comes from, so that he can bring also that light and that love to the earth, and to keep that connection through the 9 months of gestation, and even after birth also to connect the child with that knowing, that inner knowing, because that will bring out all the capacities, all his talents, all his qualities that he has in himself, that he keeps the contact with that and he nourishes it with it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That's so encouraging for pregnant women, I hope. And so see you soon. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.